Hi guys, it's Promise Master here again with another awesome Blender tutorial. Okay, so I did the robot model started from scratch and then I learned a few things. And then I also want to note if you get complications or you have any questions, I will be so happy to answer them. So drop them on the comment section. So this tutorial is open to a lot of questions. Okay, so I learned quite a lot modeling this and I'll be happy to share with you guys. Okay, so let's start from the modeling. But first, I want to thank some awesome people. I think Rayan Art on YouTube, Rayan Art, and the rendering essentials here. So a lot of you might be scared to try out a robot model, but it's really not just hard. You know, this, let me just try to do some dismantle. G to grab this guy here. Just click G to grab this guy here. Then G to grab this guy. G to grab this guy. Okay, so if you look closely now, you could see that this is a mirror, exactly what I have by my right here is the same thing I have by the left here. So what you actually need to model is just the one side of the mesh that's of the object. So for the leg, you just model this side, one of the leg, and then you mirror it here. Then for the hand, you also do the same. Even the body, you use the symmetry for the mirror and then model this side and also this side. What you just have to model the whole is just the chest here. The head, you could also use a mirror, even the chest. So it's basically really not hard. And then the joints are actually another thing that might give you stress when you want to model. Okay, so the joint mostly, if you get a good joint, you could see that this joint is looking like this one. It's just a little minor adjustment. And then I duplicated some of these joints and then adjusted them a little to get this other joint. So basically, if you get a good looking joint, you could use it on other joint, probably just increase the size, add some deformations, and then change the geometry a little bit, and then you place it and snap it there. It's looking like a great joint. Okay, so that is about the joint. And then another thing is the particular joint you're going to be going for. Okay, so I tried to go for this joint, but that wasn't the best. Let me control Z this, control Z, 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 and Z, and Z, 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 Z. So we'll have a model back now. So you could see the joint I tried here. This is a two joint here. This one and then this two. Okay, so this is not a perfect joint because it's going to give you issue when you want to use IK. Basically, if you're using a preset that's a meta rig now, the meta rig is going to be moving like a humanoid character. So in case you want to try the robot, you going for more like two joints here for the arm is not a great idea. It's best to go for the one joint here where you have more like a circle ball pivoting or rolling on an axis. Yeah, that's the best because the bone you're going to merge it to will have to merge there and will move in the same axis and red transformation. But then this might be really complex because it gave me a heck. Okay, so when we went over to the animation, you're going to see the bones how they look like. Okay, then when modeling your character, make sure you don't model with probably most times you might see a model and then it's giving you some kind of cinematic pose that you enjoy. That is not the best pose. Make sure you model everything straight. Okay, so let me go over to the pose. I don't want to clear all those poses now. Let me hold over to pose mode. Let me uncheck the bones. The bones is not visible. So let me get over to my outliner here and then move over to the meta rig here to the empty and then check this eye icon so I can see it. Okay, so my bones is actually set to lines. That is why you're just seeing lines now. So I could probably head back to the object viewport here now and then change the bone back to the bone, normal bone. So I'll head over to this amateur kind of icon here and then scroll down to viewport display here. You're going to see the bones here. Here I'm using wire, but then we are going to change it to B bone, or we can use the stick. Okay, the stick is another one I also use. Okay, so let's just use the stick now. So if I try to arrow, let me head over to pose mode, control tab now to head over to pose mode. Now, if I left click on one of the bones now, then arrow to rotate this now, keep it straight this way. Let's use the X flat view and then click on this arm as this and then arrow to rotate. Okay, we cannot rotate this arm because that's how I rigged it. Let me click on this other one, this one now, and then X and then arrow to rotate and then keep this guy straight. I click on this other and keep this guy straight. If I clear all the whole transform of these poses now, this is gonna look straight. So let me just click A to select all the bone now and head over to pose, clear transform, all transform. Now this is what your model should look like. Okay. So when modeling, make sure you model this way. So your whole object or make object is in this orientation so that you could actually rig it, or even though you don't want to rig it, just apply the transform with this pose, then you can then start adding some kind of pose, nice poses, so that when you clear the transform, you get your model back this way, because that would be best if you want to rig or want to use it for any action. Okay. Okay, so that is it about the modeling. And then let's start over to the rigging. Okay, let me head over to the bone so you see what it looks like. First, the hand bones is forward kinematics. So if I left click on this other bone, the arrow to rotate, you see this one is rotating on its own and then taking this one alongside. But then if I click on this one again, it's rotating on its own, leaving this one. So it's forward kinematics. But then this one doesn't rotate on the x-axis as this other one is rotating. It's rotating on the y-axis, this other one now, because of what this joint here. So this actually gave me issues in rigging. So you don't want to try that. You don't want to try that. You just want to use the perfect and the best way it is done. So I think that's the way. Then this other one is the one rotating this arm now. So if I click arrow now, you could see how I rigged it. So this is forward kinematics for the hand. But then I tried using IK also for the hand, but it was kind of really tricky. Okay, so now the leg is inverse kinematics. So it actually worked. But then I had to leave this joint and make it non-movable because it was really complicated. I needed the leg to be inverse kinematics. So this joint wouldn't have worked. So that's what I'm saying. When you're trying a robot leg, don't go for two joints like this. Go for one joint, probably a ball pivoting around an axis there. So you could try some other robot concept from Rayan Art, like I shared with you guys before we started. So let's try out these legs and see what they look like. If I left click on this one, G now, you could see it's actually moving. And then this bone is inverse kinematics. So this one is not going to move. This is the controller bone. And then let's try the other leg. Let me left click on the bone now, G to grab. Then you could see it's actually moving as well. Okay, so let me left click on this now, the pole, and then arrow to rotate, sorry, G to grab, and then you could see the leg is moving as well. And then let me click on this one, G to grab, you could see the leg, it's moving as well. So the inverse kinematics is actually working. So the spin is actually the one bone controlling the whole body. So if you press G now, so this could actually make the model move, bend, and control the hand as well. So if you kind of actually rotate it, I can make the model look as if it's kind of working. So a little tip you need to learn while animating. Okay, so let's head over to the animation workspace now. So I'll click on the animation workspace and you could see the animation workspace now, what it looks like. I think I off my light now. That's why you're not seeing this one. Let me hold my middle mouse button and scroll to the left, click on the solid preview mode, and then you could we'll have the solid version of this. So this is the Y flat view now. Then this is the quarter view now, and then this is the Y flat view, and this is the X flat view. Okay, so this is really great when you're animating, so you see what they actually look on different angles. Okay, now let's head over to all these keyframes now. So let's see what the animation looks like. I'll scroll this to the extreme now, press my as my space bar to play the animation. So this is quite a very smooth and key animation with our hands coming forward and then the legs kind of bending. The key to animating this now, it's actually duplicating some keyframe. It's okay and it's important, not just okay, to use reference when animating. So look at the reference I used here. Let me scroll down so you're going to see the reference here. This is the reference I used to animate this now. So it's best to get a reference. So if you need this reference, this is not mine. Actually got it online, but I don't know the name of the person that has it. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys on the description link, so you can use it as well. So you can also go online and search for your own reference. So once you're on that reference, you have to check on those frames now. So how did I know that my frames I duplicated from 0 here, then pasted it or placed it at 36, and at 36 frame is where this frame now did the exact pose it did at the initial frame. So you need to know that frame, and then you copy it again and then come to the middle of that 36 frame of that frame, whatever amount. If it's 24, the middle is 12. If it's 36, is 18. Then paste the flip version of that. So the flip version of what I did here was at 18 here. So you could see that 18 is the same thing as the initial frame at 1 here. So you could see that my 1 here is the same thing as my 18, but then it's flipped version of it. So the flip version of this 18 now is the same as this one, but then this one is flipped. And then you can see that the 36th frame here I have from this animation now the 36 frame is the same thing as the initial frame. So with this technique now, what you just need to, after you paste and paste the flip, what you just need to adjust it just this third frame, the sixth frame, the ninth frame, and then the 12th, and then the 15th frame, and then you now copy all these ones now and then paste the flipped version as well after the 18th frame, because after the 18th frame the flip version is going to be pasted as well. So this you might not really understand this in detail. That's why I said ask questions in the comment section. I might probably do a tutorial to explain this in detail. Okay. So that is it about animating, and that's how the whole animation went. So after we got the 36 frame, which is the actual complete work cycle, we now duplicated them for 1 second. So we now duplicated them to how many seconds we want it to be, and then we got our animation looking like this after rendering. Okay. Okay, so that's it, guys, for this tutorial. If you have any questions, don't forget to drop them on the comment section. I will be so happy to get to them. And probably if I have to do a tutorial on them, I'm also gonna do a tutorial. And then you could check out my course. I have a course on the Udemy here. Blend Your Imagination is a Blender character maker course. Okay, so you could see the reviews here, 5.0. Okay, the course I've gotten about 108 students. Okay, so you could try enroll. It's on a discount now, so you could get the course and then maximize the opportunity and learn more on Blender. And then if you need the mech robot, you could get it from my store here. I'm going to share the link on the description link. The mech robot is animated and then sculpted. You could just get it for but just $15 here. Okay, so you could get from my store. The link I'm going to share it on the description link, so you could use it. It's animated, and then the textures, I created the textures myself, so it's PBR textures, procedure textures I did myself. Okay, so and then it's low poly, about 40 something thousand faces. Okay, so that is it about this tutorial. Okay, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification button if you're new to this channel. Okay, so thanks for watching. See you on my next tutorial.